Do it. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wait, what's this called?
Welcome back to the Big
Okay.
Announcement Coming
5,
Soon
4, 3, 2, 1.
podcast. Nick is back with us. David is here. I'm here as always, and we are talking about the shit show of everything going down in crypto, NFTs, and the glory of the ETFs to come and save us. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Good to be back.
Yeah, really good to have you back. We've missed a lot on the NFT front and meme coin front, and you're deep into that. The last I played was the first week of Pepe and quit, and I haven't looked at an NFT. Okay, I minted one from Faceman who does our intro music yesterday, but that's not like playing the NFT game. That's like supporting a guy whose music I like.
Nice.
What's been going on, man? It was bad last time we talked. It was bad 6 months ago, and it's worse.
Well, there's 46 people left in the space. So pizza party at my house. Because that's it. It's we've seen many things, and we've talked about this on many other different platforms, like the spaces we used to do about NFTs that we don't do anymore, right? Because it dried up as much as the liquidity did.
And our topics is that we just found ourselves going onto spaces saying, what happened this week in NFTs? Nothing.
Right. Well, we learned people got drugged, people got scammed, more elaborate scams ensued, and then more derivatives just watered down the market. So when that ran its course, I think with Pepe, right, when you alluded to earlier, right, that became like almost a bridge, right, to this like, hey, now we can make a contract straight to get you to on Dex tools or Uniswap. All you need is the address, right? We've seen people do this like Ben.eth or Poly, and people are really just like diving into it, and that has become more of I think the new instant gratification that NFTs used to be, and that's where the liquidity is, right? So we go back to those previous conversations about the ball being under a cup. This cup now is just, or the ball now is just being shuffled around, and this cup now is more or less like, or the ball really is now like leaning towards like your memes and your meme coins, and that is killing the NFT market, but it's also cannibalizing itself, right? Because it's the same people scamming each other, or now they're different crowds, and we kind of talked about this off air, right?
Right, and we're not onboarding new users in a bull market, and there's fresh people, and people get scammed and get frustrated and go away. They're scamming the people who've made it through the bear market, like,
and that's unfortunate.
I mean, the problem with an NFT market is really, I don't know, a kind of a very classic one to look at, or a very simple one to look at. Like, you're not talking about ICOs where there's a project behind it, where there's lots of like development ongoing and things like that. There are some NFTs with that, don't get me wrong, and I invest in those, but I mean, people sold lots of JPEGs of pictures and stuff like that. And if you think about the boom market of the NFT market, like they were like, Justin Bieber and, Fallon and all these other people had their own apes and stuff like that. Like that's where it had to maintain for prices to maintain, right? And it's like nowhere near that. And the problem is that there's not like a V2 coming up. Like maybe you can do a rebrand on NFTs. We haven't tried that yet, but and then there's just lots of, essentially when the money starts to be less like glowy, then you start to see pressure in the system, and you start to see people doing weird things. Like, so you see like Midladies the other day, like what, I don't know, their breakaway project, that dev like rugged the treasury for $1 million, and I don't know, like people start doing things that are, I don't know, I guess this is like the stressful times of the gauntlet where you see what everyone's made of. But the problem with the NFTs is that exactly, like every time you do an NFT purchase, a small portion of that NFT purchase comes back into ETH, into the ETH contract, or burn, or to the people who are selling it on Blur. They're actually trying to get ETH. They don't care about what NFT collections are. They're just trying to like work the system and arbitrage the money out of the system. And so every time you get a new one of these meme coins, that flow has a tax, and so that's why each meme coin gets lower and lower and lower and lower. And so like all the money, the kind of the last desperate money is being squeegeed out of the market. And sadly, I think what happens is that coins go down another 50%, and that's where everyone just really gives up.
So here's where it gets interesting, right? And I've seen this firsthand, and I've been part of Telegram chats that have kicked me out, that I'm no longer a part of Telegram chats, because you'll find a pattern here, and it's certain you can pick up on it. Like there's just certain tendencies where For example, a meme coin will take off and it will have like, uh, Bored Ape vibes or Pepe vibes, right? Like that everyone's just like, this is it. And people are shilling it for 12 hours. It lasts about 3 or 4 days. Then it gets listed on these central exchanges, right? And we all know what happens when you get listed on an exchange. This one, however, it ends up being like a Chinese exchange that allows you to short or long this newly listed meme coin. So everybody shorts it, right? So and so you're just creating just an elaborate way of flowing the money around and moving the ball around, and you're actually crushing your own people who are making it through the bear market, right? It's the Super Mario Castle world with the lava and then the skeletons that jump on, and then you
Yeah.
turn around, it's coming back.
Well, yeah, the casino, the real casino where people do go in and play games that are semi-legitimate and is still a casino and stuff is closed, and so you have all the like street games happening, and they're all totally corrupt. Like, for sure, like these people launching the meme coins are not like, we'd use the term community very loosely. Like,
Yeah,
like these are each one of these projects that launches represents at least 90%, or probably more like 95% of the people donating their money are going to lose their money, and so it's kind of like it's like slots. You're like, okay, this one was probably a rug too, but who knows? Maybe you get
yeah.
And so it's like the death of the last of the people in the market who have any money left before the rebirth comes again in the future.
There's
But
a Hunter
you've
S.
got
Thompson quote for that somewhere, I'm sure. Like, I know what you mean.
sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so meme coins, we got scammers scamming out in the last few people. NFTs, there's no liquidity. I will say, of the ones, craniums are still sending people to concerts.
True.
Right, pandas are still sending people to events. So some of the projects, and pandas did okay, but right, craniums
Yeah,
went up
to be
to
honest,
$1,000 and down to 200. They never went to $500,000. So the up and down was small. The utility stayed. It's not a place to make money, but it's still, the NFT community isn't dead. The NFTs aren't dead. The NFT flipping and profit making is dead.
Well, they've also shown a lot of resilience, and they've evolved a lot, and they've carved their own way in the NFT space, I think, as Wicked Craniums
Yeah,
do. And
and there's a
therefore, like,
few others.
fair
I'm just saying.
value is
I'm just saying to
catching
play
up.
the flip side of it all. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yes, they're dead,
Yeah.
but within that, some of the places that weren't rugging are still community based.
And I'm not saying it's dead.
Small,
right?
it's small, but it's a
like,
little bit there.
none of this is dead, right? There's lots of
utility
things
nifts. Utility nifts, I think, are not dead. I think those will continue. And to be honest, I'm still up 2x on my NFTs as an aggregate. So to me, they're not dead. The ones that I'm invested in.
Next week, David's talking about NFTs. He's up 2x.
David's in charge of NFTs next week. Masterclass.
That's right.
Okay, so
rule number 1: only buy it if it looks good.
Oh, I don't know, man. I have a lot of NFTs that look
Koala
fantastic, and
Agency.
those are so cute and worth nothing.
So cute. Bored Ape vibes, bro.
Early
Bored Ape.
Okay, before we get to the worst bit, CoinEX got hacked, and then the hackers dropped into the North Korean known Lazarus group, right? Polygon and something else staking wallet. So DeFi is North Korea more and more officially. They're holding more of that stake. Or North Korea loves blockchain and wants to secure the network, and this is a benevolent act. Could be. Curve is down below 40 cents, so a lot of people who bought it up a couple weeks ago when they were having problems are sending it off to Binance, going to liquidate. FTX liquidations probably start today, at least they're allowed to, where most of the SOL, if you have maps or anything like that, that's all going to zero. And then they have a good bit of Matic and AVAX and ETH and Bitcoin, and not enough to wreck anything, but it's going to be painful on top of the rest of the week. Adam Cochran.
One clarification on that: there's some talk going around this, like that, like 68% of the SOL that's going to be released is still locked until 2025, which is, a saving grace. Yet at the same time, that means you still have a huge dump coming all the way to 2025.
Right, because I looked at it with this dump is incoming. What could I do in 2 weeks at like move into SOL, and then saw the rest of that news and realized this is a slow, long dump that has to be, like, they're going to keep liquidating it no matter what every time it becomes unlocked.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Can I ask a question from a non-trader anymore? Like, I don't even have Binance and any of the apps on my phone, right? Because I dove deep into the open sea. But can I ask something like, what do you guys, are you still trading in the bear market? How do you guys navigate this? Because I'm telling you about like what's going wrong in NFTs. I'm sure there's some good trades made in NFTs, and I'm sure there's some good trades in the bear market. But are you still trading, or what are you
No.
moving into? No.
Kind of a little bit varies. Like, so, I mean, my strategy is essentially I got in mostly in the what I thought the bottom was. Luckily, it was the bottom. November
Nice.
last year, so 17.8 or something like that. And so like now it's largely about allocating between, and then at 60 cents, 61 cents, I swapped about half of that to ETH. And so now you're running half ETH, half Bitcoin. And so the only trades I really make, although that's a lie, I've just gone out into dollars, but usually would be between ETH and Bitcoin, and increasingly ETH is looking pressured because of bunches of news. This news is
Right.
all
Sure.
great for ETH, but yeah. So trades wise, NFT wise, I just bought Bob Lucas's Station 3 NFT because
Nice.
that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, I bought it for, I don't know, I think it was like 0.88 ETH. Now it's
Right.
2, but that gives you now it gives you unlimited like yearly subscription to his service,
Mhm.
which already
Yeah.
costs like $1,000 a year. So up
And
in
that
all
may be the
ways.
next, maybe the Phoenix, right? The next evolution of NFTs are just like community memberships. If you really dig the people,
Yeah.
you do it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Nice.
I'm surprised. Like, Friend Tech is the new NFTs, right?
I'm not invited. I'm not a key. Anyway,
Yeah. I thought that was a joke at first. Then by the time I realized what it was, everybody was dumping, and I was like, okay, I'm glad. Like that
Well,
seems like just a really
it's
elaborate scam.
they're getting
no,
better.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but it's like you're really niche investing, right? So you're like, so if you're an influencer, you can say, okay, I'm going to print like, I don't know, 50 keys or 100 keys to my bestest friend fans or bestest fans to
Mhm.
sell entrance to that. They every time a key exchanges hands, I think they get 5%, and the contract is 5%. And so if you're selling tickets to the inner circle of Hasaka, Kobe, or whatever, but I'm like no one, so I don't care. I don't want to pay for other people's information, and no one's going to buy my keys. So actually, I'm
So
just
I mean, right?
relatively
It's
helping
just,
out. Not that I don't support the project; I think it's a great idea, but
but it's
yeah,
private groups, just organized differently, right? It's a
yeah,
potential to
exactly.
talk to your
More or less.
Patreon or your subscribers in a different way because we
Yeah.
know them
Well,
through
the
Twitter and
one
stuff.
difference, I guess, is that you cannot kick a person out, right? So if someone has a key
Oh,
to your room, like they're in.
oh,
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, and
I
there
believe.
that's not utility. I mean, it's replicating stuff like Patreon where there's a lot of pain points in payments going through or how you organize between you and your community. So I can see that
Sounds like
as a
sounds like a
good use.
paid Google circles on the blockchain. You know?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's like it's almost like the institutionalization of paid groups, because now what's happening is you have
Yeah.
people who buy keys to other people's groups and then aggregate their information in their group. So you should own this guy's key is the aggregator of Kobe and Hasaka and whatever.
Oh
And so you're
wow.
like, I have these keys, and then you also now have bots that are trading on the information that are being put across friend tech, kind of like the Unibot situation. So that's actually one coin I probably you could ape. It's like one of these friend bot coins, but I don't know. I wouldn't play any of these games right now. It
Right.
seems
That's
super
the thing is
fair.
when do you get in before people start taking profits? Like there's no liquidity coming in, so there's a quick up and down. Even like you're making the project sound better to me, but not the chart.
Yeah, well, totally. I mean, because everyone's doing this to see what the airdrop will be, right? But then what's the longevity? I mean, power to them, who knows? But for me, I just don't play the game unless it's easy season, and it's definitely not easy season. It's like
No, it's not easy.
Yeah.
of the opposite of the easy season. So just I would not, which kind of leads to my thing on Binance probably, which is the article I'll discuss. Or
Yeah, I would say to answer your question, Nick, I'm taking staking rewards from stuff that I'm just stupidly holding until the next bull market and selling that off for ETH and Bitcoin every month.
Nice. All right. Cool.
It's
Cheers.
no real trading because I made my Bitcoin Bitcoin and ETH moves like when David did. Some of it up to like maybe 22 on Bitcoin, but
Mm.
I'm not like we have more bad news next and then more good news,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting on my hands because I know
Right.
it's going to get worse. I know 2024 and 2025 is going to get better. At least I think. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm playing.
Yeah.
I can't get smart before 2025 and screw myself.
yeah,
I
Don't
hear you.
outsmart yourself when you look back in
No,
time. The
not at
difference
the
between
finish
21 and
line.
25 is relevant compared to the numbers of the future. in theory.
Right. And we've come too far.
So I think we're gonna get, we've got the Binance bad news coming, the Adam Cochran thread that we're gonna chat about in just a second. That's
Mm,
a nice, good push down, and I've said this for years that we need to flush out competition before Wall Street takes over and make sure they have a good percentage of Bitcoin and ETH under their control before we start ETFs, because how else are they going to make money? That's how I see this. It's the final flush before institutions take their
right.
their rightful spot, but they got to make sure you can't
Yeah.
have Binance this big while you are also selling Bitcoin ETF stuff to
Grayscale or
new
whatever.
investors.
Right.
Okay,
It's an interesting
Binance,
point.
the guy. Oh, sorry. Let's go on this quick, and then we'll go to what was your point?
No. Introduce the Binance thing because it's kind of what. Yeah, carry on.
Okay,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good segue.
the US CFO, somebody high CEO of the US one, the US branch of Binance is out, but more so BNB's right there at what is it, 200, 220, like where it's going to start passing. There's a huge green line up, and you can see it's gone up. It looks like the FTX chart. Do they have loans against the BNB? Are there other, company agreements where it needs to stay above that for Binance with market makers to have everything work? It seems like a lot of people are trying to beat the FTX sell off, which is making things go down, which is hurting people who are on the edge, which puts Binance, which is facing criminal issues, civil issues, and potentially the price of BNB falling. Right? It sounds like it's dead. It sounds dead, like it's about to
I
get
mean, yeah,
killed. That's the narrative.
yeah, that
Sad.
is a bit the narrative. Like what Cochran said in his thread was pretty ominous. It was essentially like, yeah, like it's going to be a big problem. And you should just read the thread. That we might upgrading from we're going to be fine to we'll probably be okay, in his words. And he's not very specific on which coins, if you're thinking about which coins, but I would argue that that applies to all alts and probably ETH as well at this point, which is
Really?
problematic.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess zooming out, I'm just going to put a tinfoil hat on if we go with Jeff's argument, which increasingly is less and less tinfoil hat and more correct, actually. And I'm the guy who's wrong. But yeah, if you wanted to have a clean market, you would flush out all the bad actors by suing them and then like putting pressure on their economics. So
Right.
the problem with BNB is that Binance pays its employees in BNB, and it runs on BNB and it has, in theory, loans against BNB, kind of like FTX
Right.
did. And if you do that and the BNB price drops a lot, then you have to pay those loans back. Do you have the money? Then on top of that as well, let's say they did have the money and it was just caught up in like, I don't know, they couldn't get it for like a month. It was in treasuries or something. Then you kind of, there's a war going on between Tether and Binance as well. Like something has happened where that's a very big problem for Binance because that's the way they get money out. That's not US based.
Mhm.
And so to me, it feels almost like Tether maybe has, I don't know, done a deal where they're just like have
Trying to
sacrificed
distance
Binance,
themselves?
maybe.
Yeah.
Or like, like, okay, we're gonna. But if Binance just goes down, yeah, all will destroy alts because that's 90% of the volume comes through Binance, and
Right.
yeah, so it's
But
not gonna be
is
good in
this
that sense.
going back to this crazy point of where we are in like the evolution of NFT money and meme coin money? Does this then encourage more dexes, right? Like Uniswaps and pancake swaps and stuff, like, because you're ultimately going to see, all I need now is a contract, and I can, or even on Dex tools, like I just paste my contract in, do my swap, done. Is this going to help dexes and
Mm,
as the central exchanges get sued and counter sued or just go under?
yes, but not those. I think those are already trading coins that are not listed on dexes. I think
Mm,
if Binance goes a long-term play is like GMX where you can do, and Velo where you can do leverage and different trading, and places like Woo Exchange,
mm,
which are more decentralized in the way they work. I don't know. I'm not deep diving on it, but there are some semi-decentralized, because you got to figure Uniswap swapping is, I want to get in the new meme coin, but where do you trade 5 million of Bitcoin back and forth without
yeah,
slippage?
yeah, yeah.
And
Right.
slippage is the biggest problem with dexes.
And it's important to understand why that 500 million of Bitcoin is being traded. In order for you to be able to trade meme coins, someone has to market make those meme coins, which means those have to be made by someone other market making a bigger coin, which is gonna all the way up, right? And so if you just like restrict that flow, then you just like the way you would see it is you just start getting huge slippage on all your coins, and so it just becomes not worth it to trade it because you're paying such huge fees every time you do it. So yeah, the effect would be dampening of the market. There's less liquidity coming through, so everybody, so the plants die essentially, right?
What yeah, so what do you think will happen at this stage? Like, are we
Forest fire followed by rebirth in a new form, kind of like last time. It's like the ICO projects, right? Like ICOs are declared securities, and then
the great cleansing?
they all went away.
Yeah.
Essentially. Because I mean, everyone, like a lot of these projects, it's not, some of them it's not their fault, some of them they went through their treasury too early, but either way they're not in a position to kind of like suddenly become regulatory compliant going backwards. Like you can't, doing it from the beginning is easier than going back and making yourself. So like you like, oh, do we, who has like a couple $1,000,000 to like engage lawyers and go to, you know, and so SEC is essentially just kind of pushing on the ones that don't, and they just collapse, I think.
I like the idea. I like the forest fire analogy. It makes a lot of sense. It's just,
and the forest fire, like you say, the SEC pushing or somebody pushing, because a few things that are going to go away that hurt this, also the underlying liquidity of everything. BUSD, Binance has really rolled back the use of BUSD on its own platform. And they're pushing TUSD, which is, I thought, a Justin Sun type project for stablecoin. But it seems like between people quitting, between them rolling that back, like, why would you roll back BUSD? Because you're going to get in trouble because you did something wrong. Right.
Yeah,
Paxos
Paxos
cutting
won't,
them off.
exactly. And then no one else will back it. And so, yeah, and so why are you moving to TUSD, not just USDC, for example? Like, if you went to USDC, it'd be a lot more
hey, sorry.
Basically, you know, managed. Like it would actually be, you know, audited. Whereas with TUSD, I don't know that this. Yeah, so yeah, it all doesn't look good. Like it's definitely like lots and lots of people quitting, lots and lots of FTX vibes, which is super sad because. Yeah, but from what Adam Cochran said, I don't want to kind of say too much on that because if it comes out that it's like, I don't know, CZ is some sort of mafia, who the fuck knows, right? I don't think he is, but
the thread really said it's something, but I can't say what, so it's nothing, but it's something. And
the tweet specifically said like it would be like CZ should want to go to jail versus whatever else, and so I'm like, what could that possibly be? Like, that's pretty dark.
He quickly moved out of Hong Kong or wherever he was, right? Like he quickly moved to like, what was it, like Malta or something, or where were they?
Yeah.
Well, he's from Canada, and so like I'm not sure where he is now. He's in Dubai now.
But I think Nick's saying early Binance headquarters did have physical locations. And he moved that.
A lot of people had to flee because I was during the China FUD, so all the China like exchanges basically. I don't know. Bitfinex even moved.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I want to end on a good note. Franklin Templeton.
I'm just saying we don't have to end it.
Oh no, I'm just saying. No, it's time. It's time. But ETF filings still coming. The SEC chose, what they said, kind of the third option of the tweet threads against Ripple. So it angered the courts. It pushed things back so we don't get resolution. But it seemed to be their most desperate play rather than a confident play. And Franklin Templeton, Valkyrie Invest is coming in with ETF filings. So as Binance collapses, people are stepping in to pick up the pieces. Yay.
Yeah, well, it's interesting if you think about it from a decentralized perspective. Yeah, not so much yay, but from a like
from a number go up perspective.
Yeah,
or like like longevity.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and like I was listening to I don't know, Macro works, and essentially, like if you think about tiers of investors, like there are types of investors who are allowed to do certain things, right? So there's just, like the bigger investors, you're not even allowed to go and like sign up for a Coinbase account and do this. Like you can only buy ETFs. Like you have this much money, that's how much liquidity is required. Anything below that, and you might get accused of manipulating the market. Plus, you're not making any money, so don't do it. as crypto and Bitcoin specifically moves through these tranches, that's where new untapped demand comes from. And so I don't think what people really get is it's not like, oh, now the ETF's available. Every old Joe in their street is going to be able to use their Fidelity account and make it more comfortable, and they'll buy Bitcoin that way. Yeah, that may be true, but the big one is that, like, pensions are allowed to buy it. Insurance companies are like, so big companies, and that also is the ruling recently where Bitcoin can now be priced according to its spot price rather than according to what you bought it at, which was kind of like a trip up in the back in the day, which meant that you couldn't adjust your
Right.
your earnings to on your book. So now corporations can hold it as well. So
And it works better with their accounting standards how they want it to work. So the whole thing, we're going to end this with, like, the pieces are coming together for mainstream adoption, which, like you said, decentralization is a different desire. This is the inevitable, and if they're going to make number go up, it happens. But man, does it seem really bad before that happens.
How
it's
long
like we
is your
lived in
bad?
Yeah,
How
it's
long is
like
my
we lived in
bad?
pirate days,
Yeah.
right? Where, like,
2 months.
privateers were kind of cool and pirates
2
were kind of cool,
months?
and now the British Navy is coming through.
Yeah, and you can make a lot of money as a pirate, but it was easy to make solid money as a trader when the British Navy was running ships back and forth, and you're just, sending.
Well, yeah, I mean, and specifically, people didn't lose lots of money and didn't get, like, pillaged and stuff. But, like, so
So
the
you're
piracy age of crypto is kind of coming to an end, and now it's entering more of the mainstream age, which is good.
slower, less volatile, maybe less rugs.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what's your definition of bad is only 2 months? Is that what you
Maybe
said?
longer, but I think by
Yeah, 3
2024,
months.
3 months.
because you can't launch the ETF on the back of bad news. You need to
Right.
buy up what you're going to sell to customers at the bottom, make it sound good, launch you can't launch and then go up. You need to get the hype going. And that's just
You
marketing and selling, because
I'll make
once
a tinfoil hat marketing thing.
I got
They'll
one
use
after you.
Bitcoin's true use case, and everyone will just love it. But whereas, like, the recession will come, the Fed will start cutting rates, and maybe some
money
money
will
printing
flow.
will occur, and
Right.
the
Those
they will
stimulus-
say, "Hey, look, we're printing money again. You should buy gold and Bitcoin." And people will be like, "Oh, why?" And, like, it's hard money and all these reasons, but because it's coming out of BlackRock's mouth, they might do it, and that's all it would really take.
Very easy. Yeah. Reverse engineering it basically after they buy it all up and pull the train back for themselves. But
Yeah.
um
Well,
the-
Fink's been buying it personally for years, so he already
Who?
believes.
Larry Fink, the
Larry
head of
Fink, the
BlackRock.
CEO of BlackRock.
Word. Yeah. Right.
Yep, that's how I see it going down, and I'm just basing that on kind of how you see markets work over
So my
time. You kill it and take it
yeah.
over.
That's
Yes, Nick.
very, I mean, my tinfoil hat like thesis would be, if we're talking about everything that we've talked about in the past, those frameworks or rainbow or four-year cycle or just market cycles, or here we are now in a 2-month, 3-month bad period, knowing what's coming, which is like the beginning of another cycle. Do you think it'll play a role in the election? Because that's also pretty timely around the next, like, I mean, we have ages to go, but I mean, do you think that would be something that a lot of people will try to politicize now that it is becoming mainstream? Because the narrative's starting
No.
to flip. Really?
Nah. I mean, the thing is,
Why?
like, if you go at, like, BlackRock launching an ETF is a
Yeah.
huge deal. Go ask anybody about it. Nobody knows. Nobody's heard of this.
Right.
Like,
So
nobody cares.
Yeah.
But
And
people only
like,
care
I'm
if
working.
number is up big.
Yeah, I'm in tech here, or at my day job, and
yeah,
smart guys not into crypto.
they don't give a shit. Wow.
It's just not on the radar. They got life
It's like
going
gold.
on. Yeah,
It's like, if gold
it's
goes
just
up,
out
like,
there.
will it become an election issue? Not really. Like, these would become issues only if
Because you saw other people do it, like in Miami and DeSantis and other people were like super crypto friendly people. Even
They
Thailand's
they
doing
were,
a
but
party right now.
remember
Like,
where we're getting our news. So, like,
Yeah.
Ryan
Yeah.
Selkis has been tweeting about Vivek. I don't want to mess up his last name.
Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy.
yeah.
So he is pro Bitcoin, and then he's talking about some of these other issues. We're hearing that part. I think if you flip on CNN and flip off crypto Twitter, Bitcoin's not the top of Vivek's list of why we're
Got it.
talking about him, and none of the other
In fact, I think
candidates
it would be
are.
a negative if he started talking about Bitcoin on the trail. People would start
Yeah.
making fun of him. I think
But I'll
because
give
there's
you
just
an
not enough people who believe it.
I'll give you an example over here in Thailand. Like I'll send you an article. We'll put it in the link below or in the video below. But like, there's an article of a political party making a wallet, distributing 10,000 baht in a digital coin, and then also it's kind of like encouraging them where they can spend it. So Disney dollar esque, but like regional
Yeah,
Thailand
that's
expense.
straight up illegal in America, man.
Yeah, yeah. You
Bro,
can't buy
That's
votes.
bro.
buying votes and bribery. That's why they're not doing it here. You can talk about it. You can't pay people in America. I mean, it's probably illegal in
Yeah.
Thailand too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, probably.
Like they're
Through
not like
airdrops
pro
or
bribery
something
there.
What if I
like that.
said it was called 7-Eleven coin? It'd blow your mind. It's like, oh shit.
Well, yeah, PayPal is coming
Yeah,
out with
it
their
makes
coin and stuff
sense,
like
yeah.
that.
No,
But
no. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I want to see
I mean,
this,
I think
but
it's too crypto is too complex as an election issue. Like election issues are very simple. Like it's about the economy, it's about the women's rights, it's about
Just money, yeah.
Whereas like freedom of money and whether Bitcoin, it's like being for casinos and like campaign. So for example, like Suarez, right, biggest Bitcoin guy in Miami, he already dropped out. Nobody gives a shit about that guy.
True.
He's
True.
0% on the polls.
That's true.
yeah, it's an issue that only matters to us, and as painful as it is, you got to make sure to step out sometime from CT crypto Twitter and go and watch like Fox News and CNN and be like, oh, this is what the rest of the world knows.
Right. Because my definition of a honeypot like changed a lot. It's like since June, and I was like, oh damn. And then I told my friend, and they're like, what's a honeypot? And I'm like, oh yeah, in too deep, and literally. 3-time honeypot survivor, though, I must say. 2 of them on the base chain, the new Coinbase chain.
Oh, bro, Base has been out like 3 months. How did you get 2 already?
Easy honeypot, bro. It's like it's sweet and looks tasty, and then you get stuck, and that's what happens.
So my trading advice is don't just sit, wait.
But you know that they're programming contracts like that now, though, right? Like the contract is like it's they have to now scan them after 48 hours or 28 hours or something, and they're like, this is not honeypot, because the contract is like you can buy, but you cannot sell.
Yeah,
and that's why these memes go up 75,000% in a day. They trend on Dextool, they trend on Etherscan or whatever, or CoinGecko, CoinDex, and then like everyone, there's only like 5 bots selling. So yeah, 3-time honeypot survivor.
Oh man,
maybe don't go into the dangerous honey forest anymore.
Yeah, please keep that number at 3 when we see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll let you know, bro.
Okay.
If I get stuck.
Stay safe, stay in
Winnie the Pooh.
Awesome catching up with you guys. Hopefully it's not quite as a depressing shit show when we catch up in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it will be.
Yeah, it was great to see you, everyone.
Yeah,
you too. Catch you soon.
Wait, what's this called? Big announcement coming soon? Oh, yeah. 5, 4, 3.